We are only focused on playing Dota 2. Sure, we also play some other games once in a while, mostly him though.
Yes, but basically every different game will have a different set of analysts and experts that the viewer will be used to watching talk about the game, because there'll be personalities that they've become fans of because they're like ex-professionals, they used to play the game at a very high level. Or, for instance, they might be personalities that do a lot of personal streaming, where they show their own personal gameplay of playing in public matches and then build up a fan base through that. So you see a lot of different personalities that the fans love that are relevant to that game that they're watching.
And the games are big enough and have enough depth to actually cater to all these people. Like, we don't need to be also in another game, and there is so much of this game that we do. Dota 2 is so broad and so deep that we can basically do it for a very long time to come as well, because there's so much to talk about.
I mean, for pretty much the past at least 3 years, there's been a Dota event at least every other weekend somewhere in the world. So there's always something going on, and that's just in the one game in Dota. In other games like CSGO, Hearthstone, all the other big titles, you can expect to see at least tournaments once a month, most of the time, even more frequently. There's just so much going on in each of the games. We've recently just come back from Stockholm. We're going to be going over to Poland after this week in Kiev, with plans down the line hopefully to go to places such as Mumbai, back to the United Kingdom, hopefully over to America, Southeast Asia. It's all over the world. The great thing about the popular esport titles is they're just fans in every single region.
And we are pretty lucky that we get to travel. Not just, I mean, obviously it's a lot of fun to just travel around the world talking about a game that we love with friends. But we're lucky enough that we were both also in the same game and in the same field, so we get to do everything together, which is really good.
The great thing about a game like Dota is that there's so much going on, and there's so many different combinations of heroes that teams can pick from, with a hero pool of over 100, and each game both teams only have 5 from that pool. That there's always something to talk about, which it seems strange because you'd think it's the same game, you're talking about it week in, week out, you're going to run out of things to say. But somehow we don't. Sure, sometimes we might repeat the same things, but also another big element of why there's always things to say is the game constantly changes. Every month or so, they'll have something called a patch that comes out, and it basically just changes all the numbers relevant with the heroes. So suddenly a hero that nobody was playing because he was very weak has become very strong, and it changes the game entirely, and it's a whole different experience to watch and a whole different thing to talk about.
And if you have one game of Dota 2, there will be 10 players in that one game. And all those 10 players are separate people that are using all of their focus to focus on that game. So you can always talk about one of those 10 players. You can never be done basically exploring what these players are thinking in that game that they're playing. So even within a game, there's always something to point out and to think about and to talk about in a broadcast.